Oh, it's a good morning. What's up, everybody? Yo, so episode 14.
14,
the PCB Show. Yeah, we're losing count, man.
It's all good.
I can't count after 14 anyway, so I don't know what's... Yo, so we have our next guest, Bao. Chicka Bow Wow. Yeah, so I had to do that.
All good.
Yeah, super pumped to have you, because just even talking to you yet alone, you're a good vibe, man, and you have cool stories to share as well. So
don't know about that.
You do, man. You're like one of the OGs in the popping scene at the moment.
No.
Now.
Definitely do not count myself as an OG.
Really? You don't count yourself as an OG?
Definitely
then who
not.
would be the OG in Perth?
OGs in Perth, respect to them. I mean, you've got likes of, let's see, so Scott holding it down still. Then you had Nathan, Spades. You've even got, you know, like Benny Bands, like those guys. Edit, like they were doing popping before, like I was, and everything else. So yeah, if you see how Edit throws down, like you see him do some of his boog, I'm like, I'm like, damn. And it's like it was that whole team, if I'm not mistaken, you had like Spades, Edit, pretty much systematic. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, anyway. My memory may be shot. It's been thinking about it. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Thinking about it. So, yeah. So I'm, if anything, and like Boogie T as well. I keep, because that guy just moved over to Sydney, so I keep forgetting about him. But those guys as well. I don't know if you guys remember, back in Forrest Chase. This was probably a little bit before your time. There was a guy called Jamison Lou. So he was originally from Perth, but he ended up moving over to Melbourne. Yeah. So he's got his family there and everything else. So those were the guys who I thought they were the OGs, because I learned from pretty much them. But that was even a shaky start at first.
Was it?
Oh. So in terms of the situation was that so I guess this leads into how I started dancing, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
So the whole situation with me starting dance was, I mean, for me, I've always loved music. I've always been involved with music. I mean, started playing piano when I was like a very young age, and then, you know, it was probably one of my career paths if I didn't know, because I still didn't know what I wanted to do. Like. Yeah. I was going to go to Whopper, do all that stuff.
Really? Oh my God.
I wanted to, but other priorities in life took place. So I ended up going with something that would pay the bills, as everyone knows. Yeah, to pay the bills. So I'm going circling way back. So music. Yeah. The whole, you know, used to go out, party with friends, and just like. Oh, you know, and then during that time, I'm pretty sure Step Up, the first movie, was big. And I was like, the stuff looks good. Those things can pull chicks. And I was like, oh, you dance, you pull chicks. And
finally, someone admits that they did.
No. And I'll tell you this much, like, as much as everyone says, oh, I love to dance for what it is. No. Everyone comes to that, in my opinion. Most guys, unless they've they've got family influences with dance and music and stuff, they won't find it. Man, they're here to pull chicks. It's like, even for me, like, I wanted to. I'm just being flatly honest, because I was my premise. But then, you know, because I'd see some guys in the clubs, it's like, as stupid as it sounds as well, some of those guys at metros, some of them, you know, doing some b-boy tricks or just, you know.
Yeah, helicopter.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, stand with your legs behind your back.
Yeah, all that. But like, it was...
Really shitty baby freeze.
But it was those things, it's just like, oh, they can do things that most people can't.
True.
Yeah.
And that's what allured me. And I was just like, and then Step Up, first movie, and then I was like trying to find actively any studios that would have classes teach similar style teach similar styles to that and everything else. But I mean, at most what I could find around my local area was the dance workshop in North Perth, and they were teaching sort of what they labeled hip hop.
Yeah.
Or as we all know, it's like just choreography. But I tried it, and this was at the time when I was just started, maybe 2 years into FIFO. So I was doing FIFO. I just got out of uni, working.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I tried to pick up choreography. Wasn't for me. Movements I couldn't find matched my body or my uncoordinated legs, so to speak. What else? And it just wasn't for me because I'd be away every second week, and I couldn't catch up.
Yeah.
But I couldn't work on something that would lead myself to the next step. So I was like, screw it, I'll find something else. They had a b-boy class. Burns was teaching it. From Systematic. This was dance workshop. Okay. So he used to teach there, like, I think it was weekends. And I found a whole bunch of other guys there. These guys were at the early stages of the b-boying, and they were there for a while, but they ended up leaving because pursuing career and whatnot. But they were the catalyst. And actually, no, funnily enough, Ben Lee was there as well. So Ben Lee, so the group of people I used to hang out with there as well, we all used to band together, just dance there weekends. We used to just muck around, and we used to club together as well. So yeah, they were the ones who told me about the Tuesday jams up in Forrest Chase, up in Myers on Murray Street. And they said, oh, they got some guys doing popping. I was like, oh, really? Okay, go check it out. Rock up.
Yeah.
I see there's maybe, the day I rocked up, there was maybe 4 guys doing it from memory. No, 5 guys. So there was Jamison. So that was his apparently going away before he left for Melbourne. Boogie T, Nathan, and Scott. Oh, sorry, and Yvonne at the time. So that was, yeah.
Yeah, I only know 2 of those guys you mentioned. Yeah.
So they were all there. They were just jamming, and then they were just like dancing, whatnot. And I didn't know how to like approach them, so I was just like, but I remember them being really friendly, especially jammers, and they were like, oh, are you interested? You're here to learn? I was like, yeah, I'd be really keen to sort of learn some basics. And they tried to teach me Fresno and some of the footwork with it, and my goodness, I could not coordinate that at the time. 2 left feet, 100% 2 left feet. And from there, and then I remember Nathan in particular and Scott, they were like, oh yeah, there's some, and they like, stepped me aside, just teaching me stuff so that I could look directly in the, what Forrest Chase is like with the reflection and stuff. So then I was like trying to practice, and man, was I so many issues, off beat, all this other stuff, man. But that's what led me to it. And then they saw that, because I remember talking to them afterwards. They were like, oh, there's probably some random, he won't show up again.
Little did they know.
No. Following week, when I got back on break, I was I come through. I was like, oh, you're back. Yeah. So, and then I explained my situation. I'm FIFO, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, cool. So, yeah, so you'll see me here more often.
So you were practicing that while you were up north?
I was pretty much obsessed at very start, because I was like, this looks like something, and I feel like something I really like doing. And it was so awkward, like, because this talk about like, someone from the absolute beginning, and then trying to find like a spot, like I'd do it in my donga, so my room, and then I'd find like, when the gym was empty with mirrors, so then I could practice. And I was just,
wow, dude, that's so sick, man. You were just practicing while you're up there as well.
Because I wanted to catch up. That was my objective. But
actual fire.
Nice.
But it was
commitment, man. Give Keenan some tips.
No. I understand Keenan's situation too. It's because some days like you just don't get motivated to practice because it's just tiring up there too. The 12-hour days do wipe you. But I was really obsessed at the start, and I mean, I would practice every move they would give me, because, back then we didn't have the resources. No, the teachers, like, as much as their limited knowledge was, definitely, hold it down to Boogie T, Scott and Nathan. Like, these guys were watching YouTube videos or whatever videos were made available, they would disseminate the information, and then they'd be able to make it work. It's like, oh, this seems correct, and then teach it. And I was like, we didn't have much, but and now zip forward, we're all here. Well, we're here over however many iterations, but yeah.
Okay.
It was different.
So it was choreography and then it was popping.
Pretty much choreography, b-boying for maybe maybe for like 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and I was like,
why didn't you want to continue b-boying out of curiosity?
Breaking, I found I felt so uncoordinated and awkward.
Okay.
That was the biggest thing holding me, is just like trying to just do a top rock. It was like, this is
a puzzle.
What is a puzzle? Like the timing and everything. I was like, and again, this was from someone who's never danced in their life, trying to pick up street style dance. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I just felt it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
That's why. And then when I found popping, like I could tell. I was like, oh, this style of dance is for me. I like it. Like it feels good when I do it. So
there you go.
that's why I'm here. That's why I do it.
I had the opposite thing to you. So I started popping first and then breaking. And I saw breaking in the back. I was like, what the fuck is that? I want to do that. I want to get down on the floor. But yeah. So I get you.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
We're
Like,
trying out all these different things.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Until you find what you want, your craft.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So how long have you been popping for?
Good question. I'd say when I first started learning and everything else, that was probably, let's see, that was November. I went to Sydney in 2010, so that was my first comp.
Oh yeah, you travelled.
I travelled in my first year, but that was,
I wouldn't have the balls to have done that.
Trying to remember.
In your first year?
I was early 2010. I'd say about March, April was when I started. April of 2010.
Wow, 10 years.
So it's been 10 years.
Hey, congrats, man.
10 years in the game.
Oh, thank you.
Dude, 10 years as a dancer with all life's happenings.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's a little bit surreal realizing that I've been 10 years and still relatively active. So it's nice to see and nice to feel.
Yeah. That's actually a big accomplishment, actually, achievement, to be able to keep going after a decade.
Yeah.
Well, mind you, there are definitely like periods of time where you don't feel like it, but but I don't know, I just can't stop.
Good.
So yeah, so rounding back, that's when I first started, and I don't know, like I said, like it was a journey. During that phase is it was interesting because I remember jamming, practicing, and I think back then they were in the process of making a crew.
Yeah.
So just for popping, and it was just like called OSF. I think the whole premise is Oh So Funky or something. But anyway, so they started, and then I was like, I want to get in because I wasn't part of the original, and I don't know. I think what it took was more my practice and then going over east just to enter. And I was like, such a noob, such a beginner. Oh my god. Oh man, I remember some of my stuff, and I'm like, what was I even thinking of trying to enter? I don't know. I tried, and I was like, this was. But anyway, the point being is, I went there.
Yeah.
I connect. Thanks to Scott, like because it was Scott and I who went over east.
Yeah.
And then it was back then, and we hooked up with Popping Jack from Sydney.
Yeah.
He actually allowed us to stay at his place. Props and shout out to Popping Jack and Stale Biscuits. But
Stale Biscuits.
that's their crew. SB.
Name.
Yeah. I can't remember the origins. You're gonna have to get him here one day when you talk about the interview.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember staying with them, learning and like jamming, practicing. I met a lot of really good people there when I was in Sydney. Almost felt like second home.
Oh wow.
So anyway, rewind. Tracking back to the main story. So I went there, entered a competition. It was the Ed Hardy Street Style Battle. and it was like
Ed
this.
Hardy.
Yeah, it was, remember that brand like Ed Hardy?
Harry?
Ed Hardy.
Ed Hardy.
Yeah, you
What's
remember?
Ed Hardy?
Yeah, it is a terrible brand. My goodness.
Is it a clothing brand?
Clothing, but I think they tried to venture into energy drinks as well. Some crap.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't know. It was, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it was anyway. They had a lot of sponsors to do this event, so I sort of like saw popping. I saw some people doing locking, so hip hop. It was breaking. The breaking was crazy, and it was just like the competition was awesome. It was like spanned over like that weekend, and it was just it was just unreal.
Yeah.
That opened my eyes. First time. An
event, like a national, international event.
National, yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was like to see the caliber back then, and they were already at that caliber. I was like, ooh, dance is a long ass journey.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's why. So then when I came back to Perth after that event with Scott, and then they were like, you know, it takes a lot of courage and balls to even step foot into this battle. And it was like, man, how about you join the crew? And I did. And yeah, OSF was about 9 months into.
Oh my gosh, and you battled already, man. That's really, I really admire that, man. Because seriously, I do, because to do that in your first year, for me, I really struggled with that confidence, putting yourself through vulnerability. You know you're gonna get your ass smoked, but that's how you get better. You gotta get smoked and traveling. You did that already, man, in 8 months. Sick.
Yeah, I did get a lot out of it, and I did get a lot of feedback, which is really nice. And yeah, I learned a lot from that. But for me, what was for that point of view was like I made a lot of connections with the people from Sydney, and for me that was the start of it all. In my opinion, that was the start of my journey.
Oof.
So it really kicked off everything, eh?
It really did. It really did, because of that. Then you remember the old opening of CDA and whatnot.
Oh no, it wasn't the opening.
The opening was around November 2010, and Ben Lee had just opened up CDA. Again, props to him. Shout out to him, because without him as well, we wouldn't have had that space for so long. And he took that risk that no one else did, and he tried to make it work. It's unfortunate to see it go, but as iterations go. But just that spot, and then doing that showcase. Oh yeah. I'm like watching because I actually have old footage of when we did it, and I was like, oh.
What's the showcase, man?
It's so cringe. The opening for CDA, and that was OSF doing it. And I remember the practices that we had to do and trying to get it right, but far out. I'm like, we've come a long way. I'll tell you that much. Popping has come a long way in Perth.
Hey, that's good to hear, man.
A very long way.
Because you carried it.
No. I was part of the journey for the popping scene here. Like there were a number of people already pushing and holding it down for Perth and propping it up to where it is now. I supported in whatever way I could. Yeah. But 100% shout out to Scott, because without him, popping in Perth would not be the way it is as well. Yeah. The level, the caliber, what we learned. And he's always pushing for events, always trying to get people to support and everything else. But I understand every scene has its own support, and they're running events, and back at that time there wasn't a lot of unity. So it was difficult. Back then it was really difficult, and there was some unity between popping and the b-boying scene, because you remember those Zoo-Rock anniversaries when there was those collabs between popping,
popping category
as well.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Yeah. And even at the Woolies Jam every Tuesday in Myers and Forrest, Trace, Perth, the unity was there. I felt like we always greeted each other, but we were practicing in the same spot, separate, because we danced to different music and stuff. And that's when I felt the closest to the actual Perth community as well, going to those jams. For me,
Yeah.
And,
those were good times.
yeah, and you were running it for quite a bit of time as well. You had your boombox. What was her name again?
Tiffany.
Tiffany the boombox.
So I did have my boombox, and I did bring it around. And I was like, during the times when either Scott was out of the country or he just didn't. He wasn't around at Jam for some odd reason because he was always practicing.
Yeah.
So
there was a reason then.
Yeah, there was a reason. So he didn't show up. So then I'd rock up, and everyone would still come. And then it was good just seeing new people come and everything else, and it was good times. Those Tuesday jams were really big, and it wasn't just us. It was like, we'd always hook up with Erico because he would be holding it down for the B-boys, and it was 100%. So it was all part of that journey. It's interesting times. Good times, really good times.
Man. Sick. Okay. And,
just laughing because it's just nostalgic and just memories. It's a bit unreal because realizing how much time has elapsed and then seeing how far it's come. It's just, I guess you don't give enough time to think how far it's come to this point.
Yeah.
Enough.
Yeah.
To realize like it's going well. It's going really well.
In what sense is it getting better?
Probably the level.
Are you talking about popping or the whole street dance?
The whole dance scene, the street dance scene. There's been a lot of waves, ups, down, a lot of downs. But with that comes new blood, new ideas, everything else, and people pushing like street dance culture in their own sense and own way. Which is really refreshing to see because, at that time when we just first started, there would be only a number of people pushing it or holding events or trying to get, say like actual hip hop, like b-boying and all that culture, all the, all those elements of hip hop, but then trying to educate, I don't want to be like one of those people, but like educate like the people who are doing choreography as to what. There was a lot of heated arguments back then.
Oh, were there?
Regarding what's actual hip hop, and there was some argument, not beef per se.
Bao, get into drama.
It wasn't me. No. Let's get this straight. I was never involved directly.
Nah, Bao was a shit talker.
Oh hell no. I was never a shit talker. I'm quietly respectful, holding my opinion. Thank you very much.
Pulling your leg, man.
I know, but no, it's just because you're just sitting there in the background, and it's just like, you try to educate yourself as to what hip hop culture is and like the dance culture itself, and then all the different dance genres as well. But then like realizing, then like the whole, when people started talking about urban choreography, LA, blah blah blah, and it's just like. A lot of them back then didn't really learn the foundations, but they had other foundational dances, like from people from jazz, ballet backgrounds, and props to them because doing what they do as well. Man, I challenge anyone trying to take those classes because they're a lot harder than most people think. But they were trying to warp it and just bake it as a cash cow back then as well, and it still is the case. But anyway, that's for another discussion. So there was all of that, and it's just refreshing to see now that every scene, every style, everyone's starting to take bits here and there. And then if they run into any questions or any like difficulties, or they want to learn more, the resources are there for one, like a lot better now. But two, there are people who are willing to sort of share that knowledge as well, and like correct people, and that's not a bad thing because most people will take back then people would take offense you trying to correct them, just simply like, oh, like that, that's really the wrong term, you can't really be saying that, like it's like you can't call hip hop, and it's like, and people would just go on their high horse and just go spastic on Facebook, and I'm like, that was when Facebook was like the main.
I'm sure you guys have had a lot of heated debates back in the day on Facebook. I heard a lot of stuff.
You did?
Going on Facebook.
Yeah, but even with that, it's like,
politics.
But now, like, you know, people are more accommodating. You know, they're like, oh, can you teach me more? And I was like, cool. And then
Thank you for coming to your senses.
yeah, it's starting to, and it's helped a lot by the advent of social media. Social media has pushed it because, you know, there are other people who, you know, the big names in urban and all the other stuff. They would have learned some base foundation, and they pay props to it too.
Yeah.
That's why, and then it starts to sort of flow down more now. So that's how I view it, and that's how I've seen it so far from what little viewpoint I have. But that's how I'm seeing Perth grow, and I mean, like I said, look at where it is now. We've got Wednesday jams, and look at all the different dance styles coming together.
It is, yeah.
It's incredible, and it makes me feel good, feel happy that Perth can start to reach up that point and grow from there.
Yeah.
So
Looking back at it like it was a Tuesday jam, those nostalgic times, that's what it's going to be like, you know?
that's what I mean. It's going to be nostalgic for them.
Yeah, it's going to be nostalgic for us, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully. If I'm still around.
Yeah, well, making those memories now, man. You know?
Yeah, you're not wrong. Wow.
So you've been, you 10 years you've been involved in the scene, man. So what have you been doing throughout your 10-year career? So you were teaching, hosting events.
Were you? I didn't know this.
Oh, well, no, we helped in the background with certain events. Scott was the main one who held those call-out battles. So call-out volume 1 to...
14.
No, it was more than 14. I can't even remember the exact number, but I think they ended... I don't know if they've ended call-out, but... Man, there was a lot of volume. But it was good to have like a constant event where you could see your progress. Then we'd help in the background for that, but it was mainly Scott doing that one. There was with PJ and I, we ran New Vibes. So that was like very short. We only got up to like the 3rd iteration of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, the whole concept of that was great. It's like 2v2. That's how we kind of started growing the popping young generation, so to speak. You know, pulling someone together who has X amount of experience with the more experienced dancers, just to build, and routines were part of it.
Dude, that's so good that you have that concept, right, where you have to do routines. So it gives a chance for the young dudes and the more experienced ones, so more experienced and less experienced, to collaborate with each other. And they're actually learning, they're teaching that collaboration.
Yep.
Bro, that's so good. Like, just thinking about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, part of that was like, you know, going back to, you know, what I've been doing, you know, trying to help teach or share my knowledge of what I know to people who want to learn. The events, and then I know I could probably stand while I'm making a little bit more, but again, I disappeared for a chunk of my time as well, so but as part of that, that's just what I've been doing for dance, just that travel, disappeared and come back after X amount of time.
Right.
And yeah, it's been a journey.
Where have you travelled around for popping?
Good question. I've been trying to remember because I did a bit of video research with your videos already. So watching, you know, all the other interviews, I was like, what have they been talking? Okay.
Yeah.
So at least I caught up in my head. But travelled, Sydney was really big for me. One of the big impacts. Always used to go back to Sydney a lot, and I mean, damn, I wish I was a little bit more smart with my money, but I mean, it's not wasted because all the memories and people I met, you can't replace that. So, so shout out to Sydney for sure, because that is my second home, 100% now. Melbourne, travelled there. Yeah. Met the dancers from there. Shout out to Melbourne as well. Those guys are nuts and fun. They're different. I love them.
Yeah, what's the difference between Melbourne and Sydney scene?
Back then, Melbourne they had their spattering of events.
Yeah.
But theirs was more party.
Yeah, right.
I felt like they had more fun. They partied. They did a lot of busking as well.
Yeah.
And I remember I think the first time I went there, and this is like I was traveling there with my ex-missus back then, and I used to busk so much with the boys there.
Oh, really?
Oh my god, I spent so much time doing that, and it was bad, like, because I should have been there, like, exploring. Oh no, I should have been exploring, because I think I was like over there for like in Melbourne for 6-7 days or something. I was there for a good week, and I did explore and got caught up with people, etc. But every day, I swear, I'd be busking. Every day, because they'd be like, "Oh, we're going to be busking at this time." I was like, "Yo, I'll meet you there." And this is again to the guys back then. It was Ken Pucci, so Michael Ken Pucci Charles. I'm pretty sure I got his name right. Shout out to him because he's a good mate. Back then, it was him. There was this guy. Daniel Julian. He was this guy from, I think, Montreal. Yeah. Canadian pop-up. There was some Italian b-boy, I remember. Yeah. Can't remember his name, but he did some flipped out tricks. It was dope. And like, I remember one of the busking sessions that we did, he just did this one trick when we were doing it. And then like one of the tips they got was like $100 straight up. I was like right there. And they were like, damn. Yeah. And then there was Robin from Korea. He was dope. I learned a lot from those guys. And that was when also Hickey was there. A really well-known locker. He switched between Sydney and Melbourne, but well-known locker in Japan. Yeah. He reps a crew called Shuffle. Look him up. Yeah. Dope. Hickey is dope. And I remember, for me, one of the sorry, I keep going off tangents, but I remember like one of the comments he made about my dance. He said like, you know, your way you dance, you listen to music, is really nice. I really like that. And I was like, that for me, coming from someone such a high, he was already such a high level, and he's still crazy level. And I was like, and he appreciated the way I listened to that music then. I was like, oh. But anyway, so traveled Sydney, Melbourne. I remember I made an offshoot to Singapore for a few nights. This was because of a work trip. Oddly enough, it was like a conference over in Kazakhstan, but I had to stop in Singapore, and I hooked up with the poppers there. Oh yeah! And man, because of that as well, I made connections there. Like there's Marcus Tan, Rachel, Nick.
It seemed like in Singapore.
Back then, it was like still growing and emerging. Man, the scene in Singapore has grown so huge since then, but because they're like situated in Southeast Asia, their resources of all the Asian pop dancers, they learn a lot. But like, I remember going to O Studio back then near Scape. Yeah, you know the one. And I remember taking one of Ben's classes, Psych. One of his popping classes. It was struggle town for me. I was like, damn, that's a lot harder than I thought. And I was like realizing I still need more. Then jamming with them around Scape. I was like Rachel, Marcus, Nick, some other guys as well. But I remember connecting up with them. That was like the first time I ever met them. And then I remember going to another studio back there. Unfortunately, he's not around, called Dance Meets. You know DJ Bolo? Yeah. It was his studio.
He had a studio?
He had a studio back then. And I remember going there, and it was one of the most memorable things because of that one session that we met up. Yeah. And we jammed at his studio with him and another locker called, I think it was Winston, his name. Dope locker back then. And we just did a popping cypher, and it was crazy because they taught me so much about my everything as well, and we just exchanged. But the connections are still there. DJ Bolo, he still remembers me from all the way back then. And when I was in Sydney, when he was doing those events for Destructive Steps, we'd always like, you know, catch up, have a chat, and all the other stuff. It's really nice because, you know, dance just brings so many people together.
Yeah.
And
The friendships you make.
man, it's unreal. So off tangent again, Singapore, and Japan.
Oh, Japan.
That's probably as far as I've travelled for dance per se.
Yeah.
What was the Japanese scene? It would have been crazy, right?
I didn't get much of a chance to hook up with a lot of dancers there. Again, language barrier is one thing, but then two, knowing where the sessions are is really difficult, especially in Tokyo. Osaka is a little bit different from what I heard. I haven't been there yet. It's different because apparently there are jam spots known to Osaka where there's a lot of poppers, a lot of b-boys.
Yeah, there's OCAT. That's like that famous session at the bus.
Thank you, that's the one, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. That's like the well-known one.
Yeah, but in Tokyo,
There's nothing like that.
I didn't hear of anything. I didn't know of anything, but I went out and sought out studios to learn from the guys I really admired.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it was good. It's still one of my memorable because then I met one of the dancers there, and like we just because of my wife, and like, you know, when we got to speak to him, I got to speak to him, and then we just hung out for dinner, and then we just kept on staying in touch, and it's dope.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no. So that's the extent of my travels for dance, but you know, the most I've travelled to is Sydney. Straight up.
I want to hear more about your life as a busker in Melbourne.
Okay, sorry. Ooh,
You're right, man.
apologies.
So you wake up, right? So what was a day in the life like as a busker in Melbourne?
That, you're going to have to talk to Kempachi because he lived and breathed it. He was the one who brought everyone together for that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just popping. You'd had b-boys there, you'd have people who were doing locking, you'd have house dancers. And he'd just say, look, afternoon, going to, I think it was the corner of Lil Collins and Swanson. I can't remember. It was that checkerboard area. Don't know if you know.
I don't know.
There's this checkerboard thing, and we used to go there, and man, we just meet up there because he's and just start, you know, warming up a bit, practice, and then just start busking. Like we just do sets, and it's just like, you know, some of the
man.
it's just freestyle, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the whole, like, you know, you should do a few counts of 8, blah blah blah, stop, next person goes in, then you do some sort of something that combines it all together, bam, it's a routine. Not really, but some of the guys had routines, and it was dope to see. But in terms of busking, it was just meet up at a certain time, come down, practice. Anyone and everyone is more than welcome to come, throw down. But the crowds you used to draw as well, it was hilarious. Like, I didn't realize, because back then, like, there's so much tourists, it'd be a far cry from it now. But like I remember the street, we literally had to move everything more closer to the checkerboard because the people who would be standing around would block the normal walkway. And so then they were like, oh, we need to wrangle this in, and you know, people going onto the road, walking across, and all the other stuff to avoid it. But it was
like close to 100.
No. It's like you'd stop maybe like, you know, 40 to 60 people just stopping there.
It's a big, decent crowd, man.
Just to watch it, and then some people would come talk. I mean, you know, they'd have their kids and whatnot, but
the energy it gives you.
The energy was crazy. The energy for me was like, it was so hype, and it was like, the feeling was addictive. Because, you know, people were enjoying it, they're loving the scene, loving the vibe, you're vibing off each other, and then from there, it just snowball. It's a snowball effect. And I don't know, I don't really have much to say about my busking. Like, it was from there, you'd go there, you'd stop for lunch a little bit because other buskers would take their turn because they've reserved the area. I don't know if it's reserved the area, but they'd be waiting there with their guitar or keyboard. It was a common sweet spot to get a lot of foot traffic. And then, like, after that, we'd finish up around probably 5, 6 o'clock.
So then, what time would you start?
I'd say about 3-ish, 2, 3-ish. We'd dance for a few hours, and then, like, we'd go out to eat in Melbourne. Eating out in Melbourne, the food there, the restaurants, dude. next level back then. That's pretty much it. That's how we did it. We did all that, and then we used to. If there was like not really an after party, but we just go find an excuse to club, and there was some good spots there. Can't remember the names, man, but they'd say just meet up here. We'd end up there. There'd be live bands playing funk and all this other stuff. And back then there was like, the type of club music or music they'd play is like what they'd consider mainstream hip hop back then. But there was some banging beats. It was just fun. It was just fun.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun.
Clubs, the clubs are open more regularly, like over there in Melbourne, than compared to Perth.
Yeah,
like throughout the weekdays.
Throughout the week,
you could go clubbing.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Man, but you never see busking that much anymore, do you? Like in Perth and stuff, you don't see people busking anymore. Even just times change.
I don't know with that, because then you see those usual buskers and everything else, like everyone like
I haven't seen anyone busking in Perth on the streets in a long ass time.
Yeah.
Like even just
before COVID.
Well, yeah,
really?
Even outside of Perth. Yeah.
So has it died off or something?
It feels like it has. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Is that maybe there's less foot traffic going around? People are just more.
There is.
So yeah.
There is. There definitely is less foot traffic. I mean, if you're talking around from that period when I left, that period when I left was what, 2004, end of 2014, early 2015. That was the sort of decline of the mining boom, so to speak, as well. So there were already a lot of people moving back over east. So you already from there have less foot traffic because there's not as many people in the city anymore.
And they're the ones that spend.
And yeah, because they were the people spending as well, but we also had a lot of tourism backed up then as well. But the economy was declining back then, and then Sydney was recovering. So that's probably what started it. And then, buskers would make their money from people giving and the foot traffic.
Yeah.
So I can see why there'd be a gradual decline, because Perth realistically hasn't recovered since that period.
Yeah, right.
It's been slow to recover, and we're still recovering, but now it's again. So why would anyone waste their time if that is their income?
Yeah. Right.
I only remember seeing in Perth in Forrest Chase that one guy, and he says a story that he used to work at a big bank or whatever. He was a guy with blonde hair, and he used to listen to Justin Timberlake kind of music.
I know that guy. I remember him. Yeah, the guy. Yeah.
Who's this guy?
Oh my God, I remember having a story about him.
Oh really?
Oh man, because he tried to do, I think, some popping and stuff, and we tried to talk to him about because we were trying to connect with anyone who would do popping. I have no idea. He was rather but he was very up himself, and it was and then it was like, he doesn't rap, he doesn't throw down, so it doesn't matter. But we tried to talk to him about it, and it was just like he just wouldn't give us the time of day. So I was like, cool. I remember that.
Show him up, man.
That was hilarious. No, certain other people would have showed him up for sure. But
Would you bust in Perth now?
Don't know. That would be interesting, but man, I don't know. It's like
if there was a group of people that were keen to busk, would you go?
I'd join in for a bit. Yeah, for sure. I would. If someone was to open up busking, whenever I could, I'd go down. I'd rep.
Would you?
For sure.
I'd honestly say if I would, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Really? And see, that's what I mean. It's different.
It depends on the spot, honestly, for me. I don't know how I feel about it in the CBD at the moment.
I think for busking, in my opinion, if you did something like that in Fremantle, you'd get away with it because it's very artsy and all the other stuff. Yeah. So, and hell, you get a lot of tourists around there. So,
clean up there. Yeah.
But that's what I think anyway. But it's not even about the money. It was just more like trying to put the dance out there so then more people can see it. It's the exposure which is really important. And that's what sort of Melbourne had with that. Sydney's got busking too. Yeah. They had busking, before pre-COVID. But it brings the style out there.
Yeah.
It really does. So it'll have to take someone to take the courage and take the necessary steps to do it properly. Set it up. But for me, I don't think I've got the time to set it up. So but I'll join in. If I hear there's a session, I'll join in.
Okay.
No doubt. But anyway.
Because I'll be keen to actually do one in Fremantle, just for shits and gigs, and like, because I talk about that too, is the exposure is really important if you actually want more people to dance, because here's the thing is, people just haven't seen it. They don't even know that it exists because they're too busy looking at other stuff.
Yeah.
And there's other things grabbing their attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm actually keen. Probably next year when like everything's the foot tourist. Maybe in summertime. I'm actually keen to do that in Fremantle.
I think summertime would be good.
I'll put myself out there. But yeah.
Because you could do the same.
I'll ask you.
No, that's cool. There's there. I mean, there was another spot I was thinking of as well, like Scarborough Beach.
Yeah.
You know that spot where it's got like that massive undercover area, and like sort of, what do you call it?
That's
An amphitheatre.
The amphitheatre. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I couldn't think of the word. Thank you. But yeah, I was thinking of there as well.
They have salsa there on Sundays.
Oh really?
Yeah, man.
See, there you go.
Yeah, they actually got people do dance lessons and stuff there on Sunday afternoon and the sunset. It's all romantic and shit.
Best chance to hook up.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, cool. I'm keen. You just let me know.
Yeah. Okay. Dope. Man, so what are you doing with yourself at the moment?
At the moment, a lot of things.
You're a dad now.
Yeah, that's a new thing.
Oh, yeah. Damn. You came here this morning like not awake.
Well, yeah, that's.
I reckon Bao looked pretty good when he walked in. When I saw him. I thought he looked better than me, man. I was like, yeah, this guy's healthy this morning.
Wow, no. Jaffrey's a good-looking man, so I can't match that. No, because I always make it a point if I'm going to come here, like, it's a weird routine, but like every time I wake up to get right up, well, the baby was already up, so I had to settle my son down, little Christopher. But then like I was just trying to wake myself up. I'm like, I need to have a shower. To wake myself up, I always got to have a shower.
Yeah.
Oh.
Cold one?
No, wait, not in this weather? Are you crazy? Oh, catching pneumonia or COVID? Damn. So that just wakes me up. But oh damn, wait, what have I been doing with myself? So
wait, tell us more about being a father though.
Being a father.
Wait, so you have one child?
I just have one child at the moment. Yeah. He's 8.5 months old at the moment.
Okay, right. So
he's planning for another 8 more. Pop them out like Skittles.
Dude, no, man. Coming from a big family, I don't want more than 2 kids.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I don't want any more than 2. Any more than 2, you are asking for trouble, in my opinion.
Yeah, right.
Unless like you've got the capacity.
Civil war in that house.
There was always civil war in my household. Man, and especially with the age gaps. But anyway, point being is, being a father, it's interesting. I don't know how to describe it because, getting myself ready for that stage as well, and trying to make myself, not have to worry about certain things, setting myself up, then being mentally prepared. Hell, I don't think anyone's ever mentally prepared to be a parent.
Right, I see.
In my opinion. But the great thing about, having a child, and then when you're seeing your son or daughter being born for the first time, and holding them, you realize it's an incredible feeling. And I don't know, you would not trade it for the world if you really want to, like, for someone who wants to bring a child into the world. It's the best thing. It is honestly the best thing. And it's seriously, it's a feeling I can't explain. It honestly isn't. And you only from then having your own and wanting to have your own, you honestly learn what unconditional love is. And now thinking back to where my mum was, and anyone, I can see why parents are the way they are, and the amount of worries that they have, and you'll get that when you have your own, because it really does, and it's in instinct. It's almost instinctual as well. Becoming a parent, you think like, you know, all those books and everything comes, like friends who have had kids prior or like family, you know, they'll give you tips and advice, which is great, and it's been so helpful. Thank you, and shout out to PJ for that, and my boy Min, because they just helped with a lot of things, with like small things of that. My crew members, my family, they are. But yeah, like it is really instinctual.
Yep.
Like I thought I'd never change nappies. It's not a problem. It's no issue, and just doing little things. It becomes like second nature. It is just nature.
Yeah.
It is second nature to us.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's cool. Like seeing the little guy grow up so far. It has changed me slightly. Yeah. I know what my priorities are. Giving me like drive and purpose. I mean, I had drive. Purpose was another thing. That was hard to come by, because what the hell do I want to do? Why am I here?
Yeah, it's giving you purpose.
I know what I want to do. I know what I want to do for my family. So that's just me. And yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing this little guy grow up and having me involved with my life, my lifestyle, all the things that I love. And I'm not going to sound like that Asian parent, but like he's going to take a look at what I want him to understand, what music is, dance, like every aspect of what I love, and whatever he wants to do as well.
Yeah. Good.
So, but there's no doubt when he sees me dance, or when he sees me practice, or when he listens to the music.
Yeah, he's like, wow, my dad's so cool.
I don't think about that. He would probably think, oh, and when he gets to that age, it's like, oh, Dad, stop it. Oh, yeah. But no. Yeah,
expose him to as much as you can.
I want to, and I want him exposed to everything.
Yeah,
so
that's the best thing you could do, I think. Because that, for me, that was great. Like what my mum did too.
Oh yeah.
Because, you know, as a parent, it's like, you know, and there's a lot of like, you don't get the same opportunities as what you're presenting your kids, but you want to present your kids as much opportunity and exposure to anything and everything that you think they will basically apply themselves to.
Yeah.
Give them the options, because hell, they're sponges at that age.
Yeah.
They're sponges up until, you know, I don't know what age, but you're always learning. So yeah, hopefully he finds what he wants, and that's all I'm going to be doing as a dad. So that's me as a dad, and you know, taking care of my family, taking them out, blah blah blah. What else have I been doing as well? Work's another aspect which I'm trying to push myself and excel in, as always.
You're killing it in that game.
No, I don't know if I'm killing it, but I know where I want to sort of go, and I know what I want to do and achieve. So to an extent, it's going to be a long path.
That's good, man.
But
something to look forward to and like pursue.
Yeah, it's
all your different parts of your life. You've got your vision, what you want to do.
Yeah, there's having vision, and then achieving that vision is the difficult part.
You got to think about it and then apply your moment.
Correct. And if there's any deviation, reassess, move forward again. That's all you can do.
Yeah. And you're going to be traveling soon as well, aren't you?
Because I've been working from home in the current moment with my new role. So my other role will take me, unfortunately, overseas for a short period of time.
Yep. Where are you going, bro?
Off to the Philippines.
Yeah.
For work.
Right.
So I'll be there for an extended period of time before I come back. But with COVID situation. But when they return to normal, I'll be back to normal.
Yeah.
So
have you checked out the scene in the Philippines?
I have been doing my research. Yes, I have been. I've been watching some of like the group chats where they're talking about popping or street dance and stuff, and asking some of my friends, do you know any of the Filipino dancers within Manila or anywhere? And there's a few leads I've got, so I just need to take the courage to direct message them and
hit them up.
Hit them up and link up.
Sick.
Because there's some really dope dancers from the Philippines. I looked up one of it's an old comp that I think it was in Taiwan, like Battleism or something, or some. and I saw this Filipino popping crew. I was like, oh, damn! Like they're fresh. Like it's not like there's like your usual standard popping moves and stuff, but the concepts and the routines, I was like, they're dope. I want to hook up with them. I want to go train with them or practice with them and exchange.
That's fine.
Yeah, for b-boying, the Philippines are pretty crazy too, man.
I've heard, I've seen, and I'm like, ooh.
Dedicate their lives to the dance, man.
Like it is their lives. So
It is, yeah.
So,
Sick. Linking up with them.
hopefully, there's another country to add.
Yeah.
My dance
You learn
journey.
so much when you travel, man.
Ah, you do.
Reckon you learn the most when you travel from dancing? Or?
I wouldn't even say that. A lot of my foundation and grounding I learned here.
Yeah.
A lot, and I mean that's. Again, as much as I keep shouting out, like, you know, like Boogie T, he helped me with a lot of foundation. Nathan as well, but Scott, him pushing the scene and teaching, he taught a lot, and a lot of my grounding, like I said, he's probably my main teacher. He was the main one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Honestly, without him, there'd be no, like, the extent of Perth popping scene now. So I gotta shout out to Scott and props to him for sure.
Damn.
So yeah, but you do learn a lot. Going back to that question, overseas traveling, the knowledge, the wealth of knowledge that they have, the experience, man, nothing beats experience. But finding good teachers is the next challenge. They can be incredible dancers. They can be the crappiest teachers too.
True.
You got to find someone who can teach really well, and you find that, and then you sort of lean towards certain teachers and stuff. So,
Tell us about how you the inception of Soul Delicious. We haven't even talked about that yet.
What? My crew, Soul Delicious.
Yeah, you have a crew. Wow.
Right.
Oh.
This guy. So, speaking of Soul Delicious.
You can fix that fuzz.
Jeez.
Blur. Might as well just fix it now.
So
Tiffany!
there, and then I'll turn around for the press. Just these are available later on if you want. If anyone wants to sort of get one later on, but yeah, this is only exclusive to the crew at the moment. So yeah, no, thanks to PJ and like, you know, her hookups to getting these made for us. And yeah, the inception of Soul Delicious. Yes, that was. So this is going to be testing my memory, because it was around, like I said, around 2014 we started, and that's because, like, you know, myself, PJ and Min.
Yeah.
At the time, we like there's a lot of things that happened, and there was no way we would really practice.
Yeah.
So then we decided to just come together and practice when we could, just together. Found our spots, just jam, and the routine was pretty much practice, and then we'd head to you and I in Northbridge.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
We'd always used to go after a practice there and eat, and not just there. We'd also go to. What is it? The Macca's. There was a Macca's. The Macca's in Eastwick Park. We used to go there a lot too. And I don't know why. It was just like late night training, and then we just go there. It's bad, but we didn't care.
It was
And
more the bonding.
the bonding time. And for us, it's like back then, because all three of us, we love good food. And I think that's why we just came together and just started. Well, we just, you know, were thinking of like crew name, and it was like the aspect we love food.
Delicious.
And yeah, it is delicious. So, and then, you know, the music that we listen to and everything else, but, you know, soul, so delicious. And it was just like, okay, so
Sick name,
and I think that's how it came about. I mean, there's probably others, and PJ can probably correct me. So, but yeah, it was because of that, and that's how we came about. It was initially the three of us, and then afterwards, no Kevin Lem.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Good. So you know.
He was my
you-
teacher.
There you go. See, so you know Kev Lemon. Yeah, Kev. He,
He's in Melbourne, right?
yeah, he is, and we brought him together, and we were just practicing, and said like, because he's like fam to PJ and I, and that was at the time I think when Min left, and it was just PJ and I, and then we were looking for someone. It was like Kevin was just off doing his thing as well.
Yeah.
He'd be teaching some other class up north. I think that's when CDA moved to a different location too.
Right.
Welshpool.
No, I wasn't Welshpool, Morley.
Oh, Morley. Yeah, okay.
That was when I was in Morley. And
Because I was hanging around there, I was teaching at CDA. And
I remember.
Kevin, he goes, man, he goes hard. That
And he-
guy, he's good.
and he practices hard.
Good dedication, man.
And he had his own little group as well, and I remember him inviting us, and then we were just like, yeah, come jam with us, and then, because, yeah, it just came together.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I think after that, we all split our own ways, and then that was when, like, you know, I had left around 2015 for Sydney. So then it was just PJ and Kevin, and then Kevin left for Melbourne. So then you had all four of us, in different states.
Yeah.
PJ here in Perth, Min in Queensland, Cairns, me in Sydney, New South Wales, and Kevin in Melbourne, Victoria.
Yeah.
So it was hard, but we always try to keep in touch. We'd have our little group chats and just, you know, call each other whenever things are up or down, or just keeping each other abreast of the situation and what's going on in our lives. And then I came back to Perth, and then there was all these things that happened. Then Renee was, I saw Renee hang out with PJ.
Yeah.
PJ hang out with Renee rather at the time, because I didn't know Renee at all. I don't know who she was, because all these new dancers, I was like, I didn't know who you were as well. I was like,
yeah, right. I might have seen you maybe like months.
I don't even,
Maybe?
I really, no, I don't think so.
Tuesday jam? The Woolies?
I would have seen you like once.
Maybe I would have seen you once, but
Forrest
I don't
Chase.
think we ever said hi. No, because if it was Forrest Chase, I said hi to or pretty much most and all the b-boys. But I don't know. But anyway, it was good. It was just like, I remember meeting you through, like, you know, this whole CDA connection. So Alpha when I came back here. So, but anyway, and then I saw her PJ hanging around with Renee, and I was like, she's found a new friend. And I was like, oh, okay. But no. And then I realized after talking with her, I was just like, I see. She's very like, she fits our mold very well with the group of friends that we made. Not our family pretty much, and she just fit. And then after just practicing and jamming together, I think PJ let it drop in the other in her interview that we got a spot. So we've got our spot.
Yeah,
And no one, hell no. This is our spot.
knows where the spot is.
Do I? I've seen some pictures.
You've seen some pictures, but I don't know whether you identify it.
I can't identify it.
Either way, point being, our spot, we practice, we jam, and then we were just like, she's fam. She's definitely family, and we said, look, would you like to join us? And it was just like, and what started off was supposed to be like, you know, a popping family. It's now just a dance fam. And Renee coming into the fold was, she's just, like I said, she just fits.
Yeah.
We love it a bit. That's how, and then that's how we came about, and that's how we are and still are, and hopefully still will be.
Yeah, for sure.
Sick. Man, I just realised we've got 3 of you crew members in this podcast. Anyone.
I know. I'm like, yes, Soul Delicious represent.
Soul Delicious takeover.
It's the takeover. Oh man.
You guys are sick dudes, man.
Appreciate it.
You guys are really open to talk and share. You guys, you're a big part of the Perth scene. You guys.
Appreciate it. I appreciate that.
You are.
Because I mean, we're pretty much only extending what was extended out to us back then.
Yeah.
We pretty much the knowledge and things I learned. I got taught, and it wasn't at cost. And then I feel like I should be sharing it as well with anyone who's interested, any of the new gen, anyone who wants to listen. I will always have time.
You do.
I will always not have time. I will make time to share because, I've got the knowledge, so I'd love to share it.
Absolutely.
I've got some knowledge, rather.
You're always open for discussion too, man. You're always there helping out the next generation. Even when I wanted to approach you one time. Me too, man.
Yeah, that's...
Even here.
Oh, hey. It is what it is.
Bows down, man.
Bow down.
Bow down.
Dude, I wanted to ask you about your hiatus in 20... Was it a hiatus or what do you consider it as?
What do you mean?
So you left for Sydney in 2015?
From 2015 until
like...
end of 2018?
Yep.
Early 2019? Yeah. About three and a bit, 4 years I was in Sydney.
Whoa.
So wait, what do you want to ask about that?
Well, what were you doing? What were you doing over there, bro?
So,
just working?
Yeah, the reason why I moved over to Sydney because there was no work in Perth.
Yeah.
At the time, for my industry in Korea, the mining industry was down.
Yeah.
And no one was moving jobs, so there was no potential window to move in. So, funnily enough, I got the opportunity for my job from my podiatrist. Yes, I have a podiatrist for my orthotics, so I can keep my knees and hips in good shape, so I'm walking properly. But anyway,
because you got 2 left feet.
Yeah, 2 left feet. This guy making cracks. Yes, I did have 2 left feet. I still do. The podiatrist. Because there's not many people in my profession as a metallurgist, and she said, "Oh, I know a metallurgist." I was like, "Oh, they're from Melbourne, but I think they're working somewhere in Sydney." And she said, "Oh, send me your resume." So I did.
Wait, what? Your podiatrist told you to send
my resume? And I was like, "Okay."
The fuck?
I know.
Good
what?
podiatrist, man.
That's what I mean.
What?
So I sent my resume, and she forwarded it on to him. And I didn't think much of it because I thought, people say things, and people don't really follow up. And then I got a call. I was like, didn't recognize the number. I was like, hello? I was just like, and then this guy, Carl, I was like, and he's telling me, oh, I heard you're interested in like a position. I was like, you did? I don't remember this. I was like, oh, her name, Lynn, she forwarded me. I was like, that's when I made the connection. I was like, damn, she came through. I was like, so that came for that. And then I ended up going, they flew me across for an interview. So a site interview and everything else, and checking out the site.
Yeah.
And it was a bottom rung position. It was like an operator role, but it was an industry I'd not been into. So took the opportunity and said, because there was no point waiting here for the industry to recover and get a job. So I ended up leaving.
Yeah.
And at the time, my now wife, back then girlfriend, we'd only just been dating for a bit as well. And then I was like, look, I'm going to go over east because that's probably where my career's going to lead me to.
Yeah.
She ended up leaving with me, so I was like, we ended up moving across with each other, and after however many years we toughened out. But so that was that. Moved over for work originally, worked my way up, and then just from there, because of all my connections from Sydney, during my time from traveling back and forth so many years, I am so thankful to my friends over there, friends, family, whatever I call them, but people who have my back.
Yeah.
They made my life transition so easy. Like, it was not a thing. People say, oh, moving into states is so hard and everything else.
But it was like you had everything there.
Everything was there. Shout out to my boy Adrian, Romeo Pop, and Chris Gusty. you know, for me, they gave me, you know, a roof under my head for a bit so I can find somewhere in time for me and my wife to move into ourselves. So, and that saved me, and like that really helped me. And then all of a sudden, and then dancing, like I started transitioning and dancing, and the rest, like, because I knew I was going to be dancing more there. And I did. Oh my goodness.
Oh, right, okay. So I was under the impression that you completely stopped when you moved.
Hell no. I kept going, and I went hard over there because my friends were there, my boys, the practice spots, the amount of events they had. I just went spastic, and my wife can attest to that. I went spastic. Like, there were very, very trying times in our relationship because of me. And yes, I will blame myself for this. So if you do watch this, yes, that's my fault.
Sorry, baby.
Sorry, because I would go out so late. Every event was like, I'd stay there from start to end. There'd be practice sessions where I would stay quite late until almost like the last train back, or bus, or sometimes I'd have to catch a taxi because it was, and I danced a lot there.
Sick,
learned a lot too.
You learned, it was way easier, like, to fit in compared to Perth, like, with the energy, there's more dancers there, they hold you up to another standard.
To a degree, but I think what helped me was because knowing, when I travelled there the first time in 2010, 11, and kept on going, I made my connections with some of like the core people there. Because some people thought, who the hell is this guy just rocking up? I've never seen this guy before, but he knows Jack, he knows like, he knows Chris, he knows like Charlotte, he knows like all these people who are like the foundation, the popping scene, and like Dennis and Adrian, like all these people who, you know, are still core. And then they were just like, and it was just easy because they would introduce me, and then and as you can see with my personality, I just get around and hop around and being a little social butterfly, and then I get to know. Hey, there's nothing wrong with being social slut. Nothing wrong at all. So that's how, and it just made it so easy. And I've met great people, great friends for life because of it. And my time in Sydney.
Wow.
My time in Sydney is like another chapter altogether. I can't even explain, like it. We don't have enough time to explain it.
We haven't even talked about
lifetime, man.
I'm a bit worried about time frame because I don't want to keep going on like.
We haven't even talked about any of like your battle experiences, only fun times that you had at events and stuff.
Oh, okay. So where do you want to start?
I don't know. Alright, what else?
Well,
Damn, Sydney, huh?
Yeah. I'm actually worried that we are running out of time because the camera's.
What are we on? Like, I think we're on an hour now.
I'm so sorry, guys.
More than an hour.
No, but usually the battery actually dies within an hour and 20 something.
Oh, hour 15, and we have Jason coming soon. Jason Lim.
Yeah, so we're gonna finish off with our last question, brother.
Oh, I'm so sorry about this.
What? We'll probably have to get you on again.
Yeah, we'll get you on again. When you come back from when you come back from the Philippines and you've done all the dancing in the Philippines.
Okay.
About your experience from the Philippines.
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
You come back and your skin's a bit more tan.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Who's this guy?
Yeah, who's this guy? Who's this buzz?
Start eating spiders as a snack.
This guy. I think that's a different country altogether, bro.
Shit.
But anyway, that's all.
Racist.
That's racist. That's all good.
Who would you like to see next, man, on our podcast?
Man, from the podcasts that I've seen, like the stories that some of the older generation have are great. Like Maze, that was for me. That was an eye opener for me. Great. That was great. Like seeing how things were back then, because I'd heard stories and. People, funnily enough, people from the mining industry, certain people that be like, they know about Forrest Chase and the tunnel.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, really? And then I tried to get more out of them, but they would say, oh, it's like, no, it's my older brother or my younger brother. He used to do it, and it's big in the '80s. And hear stories and then like I thought like I'd call them out. I thought that was bullshit.
Yeah.
And then they throw out a wave, and I'm like, and then like start doing a little bit of popping and bonding. I was like. You know you're hiding something. You're not telling me everything. But that's another thing altogether. But I've met some people who know about Perth back then as well, to a degree. Like that, maybe they had some spattering and some little instances, but not the real core people. So I'd love to see more of that. Just the stories from back then would be interesting, and the perspective as well, because everyone's got their own perspective of how the scene came about and everything else. So, because I came in relatively early, so who knows?
Sick. Okay. Cool. Is there anyone in particular?
Anyone in particular? Oh, I really don't know, to be honest. I mean, if you could, I'd love to see like perspective from, and if you can get him, because I know there's time's money, edit.
Yeah. Okay.
People from Zurich, like from way back then, I would love to see their perspective of how the dance scene and how the b-boy scene has come up and all the other stuff.
Okay. Yeah, man. All right, sure. Do it, man. We'll hit them up too. Thank you so much, Bao.
Thank you for having me.
Man, no, my pleasure, man. It was so fun. Love talking with you.